hope the windows are.
Oh.
Hi, Dave.
You're good for him?
Straight down my neck. Go this way more, John. We'll center it.
You get that narrow lens, like in the mirrors.
Don't work so hard, you guys. Really.
I'm watching the sign.
Relax, please. Breaking a sweat there.
It is warm.
I got one going.
You're going to get a staple now.
Now that it's gonna run.
Oh, it's all in one thing. You don't have to worry about...
Right, I don't carry around a machine.
Right.
Shit.
This whole work.
All right, I brought string with me, and we can
You
tie
put
it
a
to the
hole
phone.
in here.
I brought string with me.
We'll do 4 at each corner.
That's it.
Is that the best you can do, Terry?
That's it for the day. She's not going to smile from here on in. You want it straight, right? Yeah. Because it's got to give like an umbrella effect. I need white. Don't take my fat weird. Whatever you do.
All right, we finished taking so we can do that out there. And while you're at it, go tell Bruce to get his butt in. I got the antipasto in the walk-in.
What's today's date, Sheik?
Huh?
What's the date today?
The 8th.
Of March.
March 8th.
1987.
Thank
The fins in the back of the mouth and the front. Oh, I see it. It's all representing seafood.
That's cute. I want my $5.
I was gonna go Lake George, but Joe wasn't gonna come out of the bridge.
That must be another thing. Everybody's talking Joe. Betty Cerone. We know Dave. He's got to be so hooked up to there, isn't it? Come on. Hello, dear. How are you?
How you doing, guys? Well.
Oh, dear. How are you?
My teacher. How you doing? Mike, where's Johnny?
They were gonna go up, you know, with
I was going to say, I'm trying to stay out of your way. No, I think I've done enough.
It looks us on. Get us on.
All right, I found out where the car is. All right. Okay, Dave.
Oh, that's good, Tom. That's good.
Go there.
Hey, how you doing?
If you hear some music coming out of this, it's because I had a button over here. We spared no expense by getting this microphone.
Here, look out. Let me try to see.
Can you hear me? Okay. Someone want to cut the traffic on the road? How's that?
The sound is good.
All right. We're here to honor our friend, Huck Cerone. Huck Cerone and Mrs. Betty.
Don't hug the microphone.
I've got one little thing to start off with. It's going to be, was this a surprise? I know about it. I've got another little surprise. Where's Lori? Lori, you want to come over here, please? We got a committee of about 16 people about, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours ago, and we put this thing together. And Lori was our chairperson, and she did an excellent job. And I'd like you to all give a round of applause to Lori.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. It's all right. It's okay.
Lori, that was probably the first standing ovation you ever got, isn't it? Just like got him out here. We have a standing ovation. For festivities as great as this is, we searched high and low to have the proper MC for this momentous occasion. Unfortunately, when we looked high, we didn't find anybody. Okay, so I'd like to present our Master of Ceremonies for the day, Jim Collins. Thanks a lot. I ought to push a button. I did. It's about the only way you're going to get a laugh after following that, you know. I'll tell you, it is particularly gratifying to me to be asked to act as Master of Ceremonies for this occasion today. The committee did put in an awful lot of work on this affair, and we had many meetings, and they were telling me how they wanted everything to run and everything to go smoothly and everything. And it reminded me of one time that I was asked to speak at a Veterans Memorial Service. It was one of the local Veterans Clubs, and we were going over the program, and they said, well, first of all, we're going to have Father Smith give the invocation, and we're going to have little Susie Jones sing the national anthem, then your speech, and then the firing squad. I didn't know really what they meant by that, but I didn't get shot, and anyway, here I am. I would like to start the program off side of the bar, and now we've asked him if he'll please present the toast today so that we can all raise our glasses. Johnny Sullivan. Johnny?
I've been asked to limit my remarks to 30 minutes. Here goes. I'd like to share with you some lesser-known facts about Joe. He acquired the nickname Huck when he ran away at the age of 3 from home. There he was, 15. He was told that someday he would reach the top. And sure enough, at 18, he went to work as a steeplejack. Later, Joe sold baby food. Later, Joe sold baby food, and they say that in 1 year, he fathered more babies than any salesman. When he decided to serve pizza here, he was really discouraged the first night. When the first customer refused to pay for the check, he asked Joe if this family was in the leather business. I guess I got here now, but I'll close with an old Irish grumpy, and it's been handed down through years. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May this rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. P.S. Please, Lord, give Betty credit for most of this.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
I'm not going to use the microphone anymore. We have Carl Nardelli. Carl?
All right.
Carl?
Carl.
First of all, I want you to limit your tail to the truth. You don't need a mic, I'll just try that.
You know, one of the greatest pleasures in my life was having an acquaintance with Joe Cerone and his family. I'll never forget one night, I was visiting Joe, and he said to me, Joe, let's take a ride across town. I said, okay, Joe. You know, Joe never bought a new car. He had a lot of obligations. And first class, he'd go, he'd give you 3 1/4 for $1,000. He had a great big Oldsmobile, like a tank. So we had to go get some groceries or a drink, and we decided we'd go across town. So I guess the raceway was picked out, and we pulled out of here and made a left, got stopped in the raceway traffic, and boom, the first thing we know, we get hit in the rear end. It was an awful jolt. No lawsuits. So the first thing I know, some poor young kid, he's 18 years old, he just got his license to drive at night, and he had his girlfriend with him, and he wasn't looking at Joe's Oldsmobile. And he done a job on that truck. I think the car cost Joe $350, $400. Got $7.5 insurance on it.
I bought that with my nephew. Where's Butch? That blue Oldsmobile. Yeah.
So he said to me, hey, Carl, that wasn't a bad trip. I said, we even got there yet. Your car won't run. He said, don't worry about the car. That'll run. Gets in, never stalled. Gas tank didn't blow up. So we took off. We came back. Joe came back to me in a couple of weeks. He said, Carl, you know, guess what I got? Where's this, Joe? They totaled the car? Yeah, he said, I got a 7.5. God bless you, Joe. One other time,
I drove it for 2 years after that.
you know, he had a method in his madness. In the business we were in the wholesale whiskey business, we pulled up in front of an account with a modern car. This guy don't need nothing. Joe pulled up with that old broken down Oldsmobile. He got all the orders in the house. Another time we had to go away, and Joe was in his mental in getting my job, which was the best job I ever had, and I had to train Joe many, many times for it. And he was stocking shelves with Gerber's or beachhead baby food, and I was listening cases of Canada Dry, and he kept looking at me and said, that isn't fair. So he finally come to me one day and he said, geez, Carl, you know, there's been a job open up. I said, he told me what it was. I said, Joe, how can you make any money? 65, 70 bottles of whiskey sitting on the bar, and everybody drinking different brands, and I only get a shot at a time. He said, people drink. I said, okay. He asked me 2 or 3 times, 4 times. Finally, he said, hey, Carl, you know, you got to go, or I'm going to look for somebody else. So he did, and I went. And he got me the best job I ever had in my life. Another time, we had to go away to Boston to a sales meeting. They usually have them in October for the Christmas show. So the deal was you fly, cut the expenses. So Joe said, me, you going to fly? I said, Joe, you got to be crazy. I ain't flying no airplane. I said, you only get white knuckles for a while. I said, okay. So I drove over, got over traffic, went into Boston. Joe went over on the plane, he came back with a group. He came back 2 days later. I didn't say nothing to him. Joe still had white knuckles. Great guy.
Now this next fella that's going to do a little bit of roasting, I understand that when this place finally closes down, they're going to bronze his stool over there in the corner. He's like a fixture here. Every time I've come here, I've seen him. He's here, and I know he's a great friend of Joe's, and he couldn't wait to get up here and take a shot at him. Cheeky Grawley.
I'm not going to take a shot at Joe. 13 years ago, when Joe took over this place, I was on a road selling. And I don't think I've walked in any of my accounts where I was more welcome, more accepted than any place that I've been into with this man right here. I can't say enough about the guy, because over the years, he's been a very good customer of mine. He's been a very good, true friend. That's all I can say.
All right.
Now, one of the committee members that worked extremely hard, he contacted a lot of the different vendors and the salespeople that did business with the restaurant here and everything, and he shook them down pretty good for yeah today. And I imagine that he could, because he could put the pressure on him. He's a pretty big fella, and he wanted to say a few words. Bob Gratt.
All right.
I don't want to take any cheap shots at you, Huck, so I really won't take any cheap ones. Just the truth. We moved in next door to Joe and Betty, 15 years ago. And my kids were about that high. And we're of Italian descent ourselves. And we never spoke much Italian. We moved next door to Joe. We had to start to answer some questions, because in the summertime, Joe was noted It's not really offensive because I told my kids it was never offensive.
I told you that appreciate it.
Well, it had something to do with gold. I found gold. For years. This is our house, and you would hear, I found gold. And my kids would always wonder, what's Huck finding all this gold? So needless to say, when they got of age, I told them that Huck did find gold. He found this restaurant, and this is what it is. And so, that's the best story I can really tell about Huck to everybody here. You did find gold, Huck. You really did. Congratulations, Huck.
Before I present the next roaster, I have to tell a little story. It seems there was another fellow that retired, and he went into Tappy Stone's barber shop. He was going to go on a vacation trip. He was going to take his wife, and they were going to go over to Italy. So when he got in the chair, Tappy started a conversation like barbers usually do. And he said to the fellow, what are you going to do during your retirement? He said, well, I'm going to take a trip to Italy. And Tappy said, you know, he said, it's not too good a time of the year to go there. He said, be awful rough air trip. He said, and the weather over there is terrible. And the guy said, well, I'm going to have to go. I made my reservations. And Tappy said, what are you going to do when you're over there? And he said, well, I'm going to see the Pope. And Tappy said, have you got a private audience or a public audience? And the fellow said, well, a public audience. He said, well, you probably won't even get to see him. Tappy said, you know, you just get a glimpse of him as he goes by. So when the poor guy got his haircut finished and he walked out of the shop, he felt considerably lower than he did when he came in, you know. So 3 weeks later, the same fellow comes back into the shop, and Tappy gets him in the chair and said, did you go to Rome? He said, yeah. He said, smoothest air flight I ever had. He said, got over there. He said, the weather was absolutely beautiful all the time we were there, never a cloud in the sky. And he said, not only did I get to see the Pope, he said, I went up to kiss the Pope's ring, and he said, and the Pope spoke to me. And he said, he did. What did he say? The fellow said, well, when I bent over to kiss his ring, he leaned over and he said to me, where'd you get the lousy haircut? Happy, I'm only kidding. But now I'd like to introduce Happy Stone.
Let's do it good. All right. I can't say nothing against this guy. I've known him too long. He'll give you anything. He'll even give you his heart. Here, cut it out there. But we're here for Joe's retirement. Truly, he's not going to retire. Joe took an extra job right here as a drink hustler. Probably a lot of you have known it. You sit at the bar, he'll come up to you, my buddy this and that, have a drink. So you get the drink, and the first thing you know, Joe is gone and Bruce wants his money. Slow here.
I haven't seen.
The last roaster that we have, he was added to the program because at first he wasn't going to speak, and then he said, well, maybe I'll have a couple of drinks before we get underway, and then I can get up there and I can tell a few things about Joe. I understand that he travels with sometimes to various gaming establishments. And I know that he was supposed to take Joe there today, and but then he figured we'd tire him out too much and he wouldn't be any good at the party. And Joe thought he was going to have a great time down there, and now he's going to have a great time here. You are. And I'd like to introduce Bob Smaldone. Bob.
I really didn't want to talk. I did a little traveling with Joe, and I'll talk about a driving, number one. A couple of years ago, we come back from Atlantic City, and I drove there, and I drove coming back, and we're getting about 20 miles from Albany. I'm getting a little tired, my eyes are bothered. I said, Joe, you want to take over? It was around 4:30 at night. And a little few lights were coming on, and Jesus, Joe took over, and so this is truth. He's following the car, and we're going around 30, 35 miles an hour, and I'm saying, Jesus Christ, what did he do? So he followed around 10 miles, and finally, the car pulled off. It's, oh, thank God. So then we get near Albany, and all the traffic was letting off from all the state buildings and all. And before you know it, we're on the grass, I think. Everyone drove off the road. Anyway, when I did get out of the car, I kissed the ground. Never ever again will it happen. But also, I'll tell you all, never bet Joe on wrestling, because they wrote me in every Saturday and Sunday, Happy and Joe. And Zach Lee, John Zach. But Joe, I wish you the best of everything, and when we go away again, thank you.
You tried.
Talk about the truth.
You know, they told me when we had our little rehearsal for this that Tony Famiano was just going to get up here and introduce me. I didn't know that I was going to be part of the roast when he said high and low. But you know, you always have to learn one thing. Whenever you introduce a Toastmaster, he gets up after you, Tony. And he gets the last shot. And
Take your best.
the thing I really did, you know, I scratched you from the program. But I figure I better put you in because you do have something to say, and so I don't know how good it'll be or anything. But here's Tony.
Come on up here. Where's Bob? Bob alluded to driving.
Shake. That's not it.
Bob alluded to driving. Huck and I have been on many, many trips with my wife, Di, and Betty. We logged millions of miles. I drove about 999,000. Bob said he drove about maybe 10. Well, I don't know. That was probably out of the driveway and down the street, and that's it. We went to Montreal a couple of years ago, which there's a woman up there that we both put on our income tax. We went to a very nice restaurant. We had a very nice meal. We paid a very nice price. We did not realize that up there, American money is a little bit different. It was about 30%, I think, at the time. So we paid her with what we thought was about a 20% tip. It turned out to be about a 60% tip because we paid her in American money. So neither she escorted us to the car and everything. So the many, many miles that we have driven together, I've driven them all.